Good evening and welcome everyone to our last presentation of this year's NNP Symposium. This hour we will be hearing from Beth Deisher about modern Chinese counterfeits of US coins. So Beth, if you pop down that little green bar at the top of your screen, there should be buttons that say unmute and start video. There you go. So for our viewers, Beth was the Coin World editor for 27 years before retiring in 2012. She was also a founding director for the Anti-Counterfeiting Task Force for about 2.5 years. So she has been well involved with counterfeits as well as the coin market in general for most of her career. And we will be learning a lot about modern Chinese counterfeits today. So a reminder to everyone in the audience, we will be doing a short Q&A at the end. So if you would like to ask questions for that during the presentation, you're welcome to send them in with the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. We'll get to those at the end. So that's all I have. Beth, you may take it away.
Thank you. Today, I wish we didn't have to talk about this topic, but it has been with us now for about 12 to 15 years in a dangerous way, and I see no signs of it diminishing. So we're going to get started with the presentation here, and right off the bat, I'm going to give you a pop quiz. And genuine or counterfeit, that's the question that must be asked virtually from every US coin that you encounter in the secondary market today, due to the widespread counterfeiting of US coins by Chinese entrepreneurs. And I use the word entrepreneurs because they don't consider themselves counterfeiters. They are fully licensed, and they will show you their license if you ask, to make replicas of any coins in the world dated prior to 1949. I'm not sure how they are justifying making modern the circulating coins, but initially when I began doing research in the counterfeit realm, that is what they would show me. So they consider themselves entrepreneurs. I certainly consider themselves counterfeiters, consider the Chinese entrepreneurs counterfeiters. I'm not going to go into the diagnostics of these coins. Some of you may be specialists in large cents and half cents and seated liberty. I have a $50 here. There are certainly many other varieties and design series that we could show and talk about. But the question for you at the end of the presentation, are all of these coins genuine? Is one genuine? Are two of them genuine? Or all of them counterfeit? We'll talk about it at the end of the presentation. Counterfeiting, at the beginning, it was very easy to authenticate the first mediums of exchange, because you could tell if the animal was living and breathing, and if you wanted to buy it, you could tell if the grain was of good quality. So that was not a difficult task. Today, it's a little different story, although when counterfeiting of metal mediums of exchange complicated life. Here we have an example of Chinese spade money, and these images are showing genuine items. 1000 BC, 700 BC, the first gold coin. We move on to counterfeiting of a later period, and we find that counterfeiters have been plying their trade for thousands of years. The contemporary counterfeits of ancient coins, if you're an ancient coin collector, you know full well that you will find ancient counterfeits that circulated in their time. Here we have an interesting counterfeit from 5th century Athens, you see that the wear reveals the copper. They have just a silver plate on it. I think it's a beautiful coin, but we know it's counterfeit. I think the bottom picture shows it quite well. Here we have a cut coin, and you see the interior of the coin is bronze. The outside looks pretty good, but once you get inside, that you realize that this coin from 450 BC is also a contemporary counterfeit. We'll move rapidly to the 21st century. And if you're a longtime Coin World reader, you will recognize this series that we published in 2008. What happens is that the internet opened the world markets to cottage industry Chinese forgers around 2005 to 2008. And we can date this precisely because Alibaba, which is the largest internet company in the world, got going in 1999. And it took it a couple of years to reach its larger capacity. Of course, with the Chinese population, it didn't take long as people became internet savvy. And by about 2004, 2005, we were beginning to see counterfeits in the United States, and especially online. And mainly, they were coming through Alibaba, which is the largest of the internet websites, but also AliExpress came later, and then DHgate, I'm sorry. These are all under the same umbrella. And in our research, this was a two-part series. We had begun doing the research in late 2007, and we made contact with a seller who seemed to have better quality merchandise than what we were seeing in the others. And for several months, he would not answer us. We were trying to send emails, and he would say, no English. And so finally, I enlisted the help of a friend from who had immigrated to the United States from China, and asked if he would translate my questions into Chinese. And we sent the questions, and all of a sudden we began getting answers. We did the translations for about 3 months. I would send questions, and it would take about a week to 10 days, and we would get answers in Chinese. And then I would get the Chinese translated to the English. And as we gained his confidence, he began responding, we felt, in good detail. And finally, he began responding in English. But what we found was that he was definitely testing the US markets. At that time, he had the ability to produce as many as 100,000 coins a month. But most of that was really internal to China and a few other surrounding countries. They were really just beginning to figure out whether or not they could sell their wares in the United States. And at that time, he was selling about 1,000 coins per month, primarily whatever was interesting to US collectors and buyers. But he made no pretense of that he really wanted to stay in the retail market. His prime motive was to find entrepreneurs like himself to set up a good business model. We've fast forward now to 2021, and the Chinese counterfeiters are really market savvy and high tech. Many of you might have seen this particular picture. It's a screenshot from a coin being offered on Alibaba, and they brag quite openly that this coin can pass the test. Weight, diameter, the ring test. Many of you know gold coins and silver coins have a specific ring, and if you handle enough, and you can either tap them, or if you drop it, heaven forbid, there is a ring to it, and they were successful in duplicating it. This particular coin, it has a tungsten center. So when we first started looking at Chinese counterfeits back in 2007, 2008, most of the coins were not crude, passable, but their weights, diameters were markedly off, and they often they came nowhere close to a ring test. But during the ensuing years, they have become quite adept. And part of that is because of the ability to adapt and use the most modern of manufacturing techniques. At first, they were scanning high resolution images and using sculpture, digital sculpture equipment and software. To the upper right of the screen, you see what was pictures on, again, this is a screenshot from one of the sellers on Alibaba, and they were showing off their new factories. And what caught our eye is they were using, this particular factory is using newer technology, the micro EDM and 3D image scanning and the CNC machines. These are modern era, this is modern era technology. It comes from the machine industry, but it is used to make very good dies that can then be used on standard presses to make the counterfeits. On the lower level of your screen, these are pictures actually taken from an arrest. The counterfeiters weld the real coin on a copper rod and then fix it to an EDM machine as an anode. The dies made by the EDM machine that you see the person holding them close, these happen to be Chinese coins. To the right, you see dies of counterfeit US silver coins. And this was quite a large haul when authorities made the arrest. It was actually a joint operation by the US and China. China was interested because this particular entrepreneur was counterfeiting Chinese coins. He got in trouble for counterfeiting his own coins, his own country's coins. There were no charges. China didn't charge him with manufacturing US coins. But these operations today, rather than being cottage industries with one or two presses, they are large scale. They have rows and rows of presses, and their production capacity is anywhere from 50,000 to 500,000 per month per coin design. And I had a conversation by internet with one of the managers of one of the factories who told me that um, with a few weeks lead time, they could certainly increase the 500,000 per month if we had that capacity to sell the coins worldwide. So far as the kinds of coins that are being counterfeited, it is every US coin since 1793. I call them classic US coins here. Those are the coins that are most collected today. But every coin design by date and mint mark. When I was in China in 2013, I visited a couple of shops, and interestingly enough, when you walk in, if you don't read Chinese, you're at a little disadvantage. There's a little sign that I saw in two of the shops that just said every item in this shop is a replica. Of course, if you don't read Chinese, you don't get that notification. But there I saw Dansko albums, and those were counterfeit Dansko albums that literally had, for instance, Morgan dollars, a complete date and mint mark set of Morgan dollars. And we discovered that what they were showing were uncirculated coins, but if you wanted them in a certain grade, they could accommodate you. And if you wanted a complete Morgan dollar set in AU 58 or AU 55 or whatever, they could certainly accommodate you. And they could also accommodate you for a fee if you wanted your coins toned. Commemoratives, US commemoratives, the same thing. The early commems, a complete set. So albums filled with commemoratives. The modern commemoratives, of course, those dating from the early 80s here, 1982 forward. It's been our experience in following these that it takes about 6 weeks from the time a new commemorative enters the marketplace. And sometimes they're using the high definition digital images. Other times they actually order the coins, or I think their quicker method is that they do have people that are a part of their operations that either living in the United States or living in other parts of the world, mainly Europe and sometimes in Canada, that order the coins, get them quick enough. So it only takes a couple of days. Once they have the real coin, especially the modern commems, it only takes a couple of days and they're on the press and able to send large numbers or able to sell. The same is very much true with bullion coins. American eagles, gold eagles, the silver eagles, the bars. As soon as a new date comes out, 6 to 8 weeks, you can buy large quantities, or the offering. Something that has come about in the last few years, I'd say last 3 or 4 years particularly, the circulating coins. We're seeing lots of circulating coins. And interestingly, we found out that the Chinese can buy copper nickel in large quantities, rolls of it, and they can, it meets all the specifications of US circulating coins. It's the same thing. There's no difference. They can buy it on the world markets and can make circulating coins relatively easy. In fact, they actually roll them and try to scuff them up so that they will look like they have been in circulation. the counterfeits are entering the U.S. market by, of course, the usual suspect places. eBay. And of course, eBay probably monitors its website. We have volunteer monitors who are looking at anything offered on eBay in the coin sector on a daily basis. But lots of coins, that's where they first started offering coins in the United States. Amazon about 3 years ago changed its policy and let vendors come in directly. And so they have almost swarmed to Amazon. Facebook, we find quite a few counterfeits offered on Facebook. As a matter of fact, one of the largest cases that the task force, the foundation has ever been involved with, there was a guy from New Jersey selling coins on Facebook, and we spotted those and were able to work with the Secret Service and Homeland Security investigations. And he was prosecuted for selling or actually importing fake US coins. When they arrested him and then did a search of the premises of his home, they found coins that, if they were sold into the US market at values of today's values for genuine coins, that would have been $28 million, excuse me, $46 million worth of coins. It took about 2.5 years to bring this person to justice, but he is now in a federal prison serving a 10.5-year sentence. We're also seeing counterfeits of US coins sold on Instagram. I mentioned early on Alibaba, AliExpress, and DHgate. Wish.com is a site that actually has a mailing address and I believe computer banks in San Francisco. But if you order on Wish.com, they are sent from China. Almost every order I'm familiar with that has come off of Wish.com is fulfilled in China. Craigslist, you will often find people who have either purchased or knowingly part of the Chinese operation, and they will sell on Craigslist. One of their often used tactics is to offer to trade gold bars or gold coins for your US coins, silver coins. They're looking for, they will say, if you have some family coins, or if you have, usually they will say silver dollars or American Eagles or whatever, and they will trade you for gold bars and offer to meet you in the parking lot of a big box store like Walmart, and want to trade you the gold bars. Of course, the gold bars are fake. Many counterfeit coins, and these happen to be the circulating coins, are flowing through U.S. shipping ports. There is a sophisticated operation where the circulating coins are actually used as ballast for the ships. Therefore, there's no charge to get them here. There are rings of people that are then, if they get through Customs and Border Protection, they are trying to deposit those coins in operations at banks. But that is a very sophisticated operation. Luckily, Homeland Security and Secret Service has stopped tons of those circulating coins, but they're getting through. We see evidence of that throughout the United States. And of course, if you order directly on Alibaba or AliExpress, uh, oftentimes the coins will come through. They're mailed in China and it comes through the United States Postal Service. And actually, up until beginning of this year, US taxpayers were subsidizing. You say, how in the world can a counterfeiter in China mail a coin for less than $2 and it get to me within a week to 10 days? Well, because of the Universal Postal Union, that is a treaty. The U.S. was actually subsidizing the postal rates. All of that changed or is beginning to change because of the Trump administration insistence that the postal rates, that they could change them, and they threatened to pull out of the International Postal Pact. And as a consequence, they agreed that the world rates would be renegotiated, and that's going to happen over the next 5 years. They started working on this in January of this year, and we will see whether or not it's going to have very much of an effect. Of course, all of the coins that you see on the screen here are counterfeit. Many of them come raw. But you find counterfeits in counterfeit holders, and they do very much target the two largest services, NGC and PCGS. It's a constant battle for the grading services to keep ahead. I know that they are changing their holders and trying their best, but some get through, and the counterfeiters, it seems like, are quick to change theirs. So both NGC and PCGS have at their sites very good identification and information about their holders. I would suggest that if you're seeing counterfeits in holders, that you pay particular attention. We don't have time in this presentation to go through and show you how to use those sites, but I would strongly suggest that you learn how to identify counterfeits and the counterfeit holders. Of course, the U.S. numismatic community began responding. Actually, it started in 2016 at a summit during the ANA. In August, the community came together and decided that they had to respond. The number and the sophistication of counterfeits coming into the United States from China had reached the point that we could no longer sit idly by and just let them flow through. So the Anti-Counterfeiting Educational Foundation, of course, it started under the ICTA umbrella and then became a 501c3 foundation with the task force working under the foundation. This is their website. It's acefonline.org. And of course, all of the counterfeits that you see on the homepage there, this is a collage of counterfeit coins. You will see that everything in the US, all US coins, but you also see bars, you see foreign coins, you see bullion coins, it's all there. The task force had began working in 2017, and that I began working with the task force early on. And my first trip to Washington, D.C. to meet with federal officials first of all, Custom and Borders Protection had told us that, yeah, they saw coins coming through, but they didn't really pay much attention to them. And it's been a long process to, first of all, make connections within the Custom and Border Protection Service to get to the targeting centers, Homeland Security investigations, and the Secret Service. But that we've made great strides in first of all, finding the people within those agencies and then working to educate and train them, and with the overall goal of mobilizing law enforcement to stop the counterfeiters and their accomplices. And they do have accomplices here in the United States: importers, the distributors, and the sellers. And sometimes one person is all three, and then there are those that are just importers and distributors, and then others are just merely selling. Here you see the inside of an inspection facility near a major airport. And these particular officers, you see what was coming through their packages. They are counterfeit, the silver eagle and also the silver baseball commem happen to be in packages that was open in this facility near Memphis. I won't take a long time explaining each of these, each of these particular resources that the anti-counterfeiting task force has today. But I will highlight a couple of these because what you see here represents a tremendous amount of work over the last 3 years. And I think few people appreciate how far the task force has come. The first is the centralization of reporting counterfeits by collectors, dealers, and the general public. If you go to the website, you can fill out a form and send the information directly to the task force, and the database can track the data, analyze trends and patterns, and they're using this information in conjunction with law enforcement, and they're doing a lot of coordination and case development. I know that in talking with Doug Davis in the last few days, that there are many cases in the pipeline. We haven't heard much about them recently, but there is a backlog. What you find is that once a case is investigated and they're near charges, or even, excuse me, once charges have been filed, it will take 2 to 3 years for those cases to make their way to the courts and finally having adjudication. A big part of the work that involved is identifying and authenticating, or being able to say and have experts that will testify that the coins are counterfeit. And sometimes it takes undercover investigations, and sometimes it even takes the ability to do undercover buys from the counterfeiters' websites. So it's a lot of people volunteering to work with law enforcement. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that the task force and the Anti-Counterfeiting Education Foundation are supported entirely by donations. So visit the website. If you have the ability, please donate, because that work is supported by the numismatic community. Of course, I would be remiss if we did not talk just a few minutes about buyer due diligence. If you are buying from any of the sites that we mentioned, uh, you have to take some responsibility and know the design details of the genuine coin that you're buying. It's the same with grading. Learning to grade, first of all, you have to know what the genuine coin looks like. You have to know the characteristics and become aware of, uh, in certain respects, die characteristics, but certainly the overall genuine design details, and also the years of issue. Often the counterfeiters will have the wrong years of issue. Uh, we think of this as funny, but there are those who are not specialists in coins that do not realize that a particular coin has the wrong date on it. The metal composition is a little more difficult and it takes specialists, but those of you who are specialized will recognize sometimes that it has the wrong metal composition. The weight and diameter are really critical. Uh, it's it's not expensive equipment to have your digital scales on a caliper to be able to uh, measure the diameter. Note here, I the example I'm showing is the uh, Apollo 11 50th anniversary silver dollar. And of course, the genuine coin is shown to the left at the top and the fake at the right. The genuine coin's weight is 26.73 grams and the diameter is 38.1 millimeter. I think the word got cut in half there, but I just saw the typo by the image that I put in. But if you look at the scales, you'll see that the weight is off on that coin and also the diameter is incorrect. We're pretty sure that this particular die was made from a digital image, because if they'd have had the real coin, they would have realized that the coin is not flat as most of our commems are. Uh, the, the genuine coin is concave. And if they'd had the genuine coin to use to make their die, they would have recognized that right away. But these kinds of things, as a collector, you know to look for. Where the counterfeits become really dangerous, especially in popular collected series like Morgan dollars, Peace dollars, the gold and silver eagles, other popular series, is that we see them in flea markets, we see them in general auctions, the type of things that the FOP or other venues at the fairgrounds where they will have weekly and monthly auctions and they post it as is. And so no one has looked at the coins for genuineness, and the general public sees silver dollars and they know that, okay, silver is going up and they will be tempted to buy them. And they have no ability or really are not aware that they should be looking at coins and doing their due diligence as a buyer. Now, many of you, I'm sure, are very familiar with the various specialty organizations. And if you are a member of these organizations, chances are you are a specialist and you have done some research into counterfeits of the various series. But there are a number of clubs and organizations like Early American Coppers, the Colonial Collectors, John Wright Liberty seated collectors who have really taken the lead in identifying counterfeits in their particular specialty area. Also, there are moderated Facebook discussions groups, such as the Dark Side. Many of you know Jack Young, who is moderator of that group. They are constantly looking at and identifying and often will publish for specialists the dye characteristics of the counterfeits that they're seeing in the marketplace. It is vital. Let's go back to that. It is vital. The work that these groups are doing is vital to identifying counterfeits in the marketplace. There are several other discussion groups that are working in these areas. Many of them are affiliated with the groups identified there in the first bullet point. The third-party grading services, PCGS and NGC and NX, as I mentioned, PCGS and NGC particularly have robust websites, and there's a lot of information that you can find. Like NGC has a section that identifies the top 50 most counterfeited coins. You also find that PCGS has a museum of their holders, the genuine holders. And you can use that to identify if you have questions and immediately go to that. And then if you think you're dealing with a counterfeit holder, then get in touch with the grading services, because they have people on their staff that work with this all the time. They're very aware of what is out there, and they can help you. So far as contacting law enforcement, the U.S. Secret Service is the government entity that is charged with investigating and even confiscating counterfeits. If you go to the Secret Service website, and I have a screenshot here of the section that shows you the field offices and how to contact their field offices. The problem is this: even at the website, you see nothing about coins. Their focus historically has been on paper money. Chances are, if you get through to a field office, the person you're talking with has had no training or has very little knowledge of counterfeit coins. They will often say to you, if you do get through to a field office, well, just take them to your local law enforcement. And there is a way for local law enforcement to send the material on to the Secret Service. However, if you have counterfeits, you know of someone selling counterfeits, or if there's any information that you have to report, today it's a much easier process by going to the ACF online website where it says counterfeit alert. There's a drop-down menu there that has a form for reporting a counterfeit. Fill out this form, and it will get to the information, will get to the Secret Service or the appropriate federal law enforcement much quicker. 3 years ago, that did not exist. Today, it's much easier. Secret Service, I was amazed to find out there are literally about 1,500 Secret Service agents throughout the country. Their primary responsibility is providing protection for the president and other senior government officials, and also counterfeit. They do actively pursue counterfeiters of paper money. But there are other government agencies that work more directly with the counterfeit coins in trying to stop those. So like Homeland Security investigations. Again, I encourage you to use the counterfeit alert form, and that way, if you have counterfeit coins that you have inadvertently gotten, you want to turn them in, or if you see counterfeit activity, and that's really important, use this form and get the information to Doug Davis, and he will take it from there and work with the appropriate agencies. Now, very quickly, I hope all of you got the correct answer. All of the coins that we saw earlier are counterfeit. And I think we have a few minutes left, so we can move on to the Q&A.
All righty. Then Beth, if you would hit that red stop share button up at the top of your screen.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, we've got quite a few questions in the Q&A already. Anyone else who would like to ask them, you can go ahead and type those in and we will get to as many as we can. Okay, can we rely on the major grading companies that the coins they grade are genuine?
I think probably 99% of the coins that they grade are genuine. Nobody's perfect, and I know of instances, and probably some of our participants know of instances that they get by. The one protection that you have by using the grading services is the guarantee that they offer. If they inadvertently got a counterfeit coin in their holder, and you can be fully made whole and refunded. That's the protection that you get.
What reference books would you recommend for modern coins?
For modern coins, well, I will take the simplest part of it first. Things like a red book will give you the diameter and the weights. I'll plug the 4th edition of Cash in Your Coins, which is out this year. We have a 34-page chapter on counterfeit coins. That's new to that work. There are other major references. What you need to do is find the real coin and work from there. Many people have been very hesitant to put all of the details of what they're seeing and encountering in counterfeits because that helps the counterfeiters get better.
Mm-hmm. How much confidence can collectors have in the authenticity of coins offered by major auction houses for coins without provenance? Are they on top of this?
My general experience is they are pretty good. Of course, I do not buy in the auction market myself, so there could be instances where some have gotten by. The larger firms certainly, I think, are doing a pretty good job.
We actually have a couple questions about this one. They're all in the same vein. Where does one go to learn how to identify counterfeits in counterfeit holders? I thought I was safe buying graded coins in holders.
There are a number of classes that the ANA offers in detecting counterfeits. The P&G has offered this. The grading services often will sponsor those. Excuse me. If you get a chance to take the course on identifying counterfeits, do that, because they not only cover, it's my understanding, they cover the raw coins, but they also deal with the counterfeit holders.
And I'd also like to point out, we actually had a presentation last year on identifying counterfeit holders. So that is recorded and it's up on the NNP. It was by Isaiah Hageman and Matthew Tahori. So that is up there. If you go to the Symposium website, under more info, there's a past recordings and you can get to it that way. So that's also a possible reference. Is it illegal to knowingly own a counterfeit coin in your collection?
This I think could be a little controversial. I will give you the law enforcement response is the law itself says that it is illegally to knowingly possess, sell, or buy a counterfeit coin. That is U.S. Law. Some have taken the position that you can hold that coin and even trade it if you tell the buyer that it's counterfeit. U.S. Secret Service and the government say if you knowingly possess or buy or sell, that it's against the law. I'll give you my experience. I was in Washington, D.C. preparing a presentation and asked the Secret Service, would they like me to bring some counterfeit examples? And the Secret Service agent told me if I knowingly told him the coin that I had in my possession was counterfeit, he would not only confiscate it, but he would arrest me for knowingly possessing a counterfeit coin. So I brought pictures. I did not bring any coins.
Let's see. I constantly see coins for sale, like a collection of 28 slabbed MS Morgans on Facebook for about $8 each. Obvious fakes. Can this commercial advertising for these be stopped in any way?
Well, there have been many attempts to work with eBay and other venues to get the counterfeits off. That is a never-ending job. I don't know that anyone has successfully been able to rid the U.S. marketplace of counterfeits. I know that Canada takes a very different view, but I don't know that there's been real success in getting the counterfeits off the market. When you see instances of that, report it to ACEF, and they will get law enforcement working on it.
Okay, just to point out, someone in the Q&A asked me to type the answer of that counterfeit slab detection presentation. So that should be visible to that person now. Let's see. Okay, we have a few different comments in the Q&A, so I'm just going to read a couple of them. If you would like to respond, you may. We have one person saying, eBay is doing nothing about counterfeit and fantasy paper money that I report to them regularly. Once in a great while, they will take down a Nazi-marked piece, but very rarely. Let's see. Interesting to learn the efforts that are being put in to stop this plague of counterfeiting. Thank you for your presentation. The targets are worldwide too, of course. I have an obvious counterfeit of a New Zealand 1977 commemorative dollar, which would be worth about $4 if a real base metal coin, and maybe $30 if silver. It seems everything is fair game as far as the Chinese makers are concerned. And finally,
well, I can comment a little bit on that. Everything is fair game. They not only counterfeit U.S. coins, but they counterfeit coins from other countries, and it's primarily because of the difference in the value of U.S. coins and Chinese coins. If they're popular and they can make money on it, and it's usually in volume, they do.
Let's see. One person is asking, what's the link to the Dark Side Facebook group you were talking about? I'm not sure we can really say a link. Do you have like the full name of that to share that they can search in Facebook? Actually, I might be able to respond to that one.
I do not have it handy, but I can right here with me. But I can get it to you for the post.
Let's see. I think I am in that group, so I can pull it up and should be able to type a link in response to that. There we go.
That is a moderated group, so you must ask to join.
Okay. To that person, you should have a typed answer in the Q&A with a link, so you can request to join that. Let's see. Oh, we got some more things coming up. I heard that it is illegal for the Chinese to make Chinese coin counterfeits. Is that true?
Yes, that is. It is illegal for them to counterfeit modern Chinese coins. Anything after 49. 49 and earlier, it is not illegal for them to counterfeit because they want all the coins prior to the Chinese Revolution out of the system.
There we go. Okay, let's see. Do you have any? Do you have any comments on counterfeit tokens and metals?
I don't really have that many comments. I have not seen tokens and metals, although that's not an area I have looked at particularly. It would not surprise me if they have value, they will be counterfeited. A little funny anecdote, when I went to Washington to first meet with Customs and Border Protection, the head of the targeting service said, I said, well, you know, we have a big problem in counterfeiting of coins. And he said, well, the Chinese are counterfeiting everything from toilet paper to airplane parts. So if they can make money, assume it's going to be counterfeited.
Let's see, the same person is informing us in the Q&A. They're a member of the original Hobo Nickel Society, and apparently counterfeit Hobo Nickels are an issue as well.
Absolutely. I have seen lots of counterfeit Hobo Nickels offered on especially Alibaba and AliExpress. Quite prevalent, so they must be popular.
Alrighty. Oh, nope, there we go. I have acquired 2 counterfeit vintage Chinese coins from a major auction house. So your answer to my previous question is very helpful. Thank you. I'm not sure which the previous question was from that person. I haven't been paying attention to who's who. Alrighty. I think, well, we do have one other question in here. Can I get a PDF or PowerPoint slide after the presentation? So we are not currently planning to make the PowerPoints available as like a downloadable PDF or anything like that. We will have the recordings of the presentation, so you can always look through that presentation to see the slides of the PowerPoint again. We just don't want anyone, you know, downloading those PowerPoints to use as their own. Is the current plan. We may be reevaluating that for future years, but that is what we'll have. Okay, and apparently the Facebook link does not work if you are not in the group. So the title of that group is Dark Side - Counterfeits and Fakes. So hopefully that will enable everyone to find it. I'm sorry that the link did not work. I don't share links out of Facebook very often. Alrighty, then I believe that will wrap us up unless we have any last minute questions coming through. So do you have any closing comments that you would like to share, Beth?
Well, I really appreciate those who have joined us today, and I would encourage you to look at coins with the mindset that it could be counterfeit. For many years, the assumption in the U.S. market is if it was a low value coin, there was no use in even thinking about it could be counterfeit because no one would bother to do that. That rule simply does not apply today. Anything, any coin can be counterfeited regardless of its value. If they can make a buck doing volume, they do. And so the new way of thinking is every coin you pick up, you have to question, especially if it has value beyond face value or more, even face value coins, could this be counterfeit? You have to ask that question and think about it and pursue it. If there's anything that looks different or feels different about it, we handle our coins. So if you handle enough silver dollars or whatever it is, you have a sense of what the weight is. If the weight seems off, check it.
Alrighty, great. Thank you so much, Beth, for an excellent presentation. I think it was a very good way to round out this year's symposium. Thank you everyone for watching who has participated throughout the weekend. We've had a really good turnout this year, so we've been very happy with that. Keep an eye on your emails. We'll be sending out an email next week asking for any feedback from the symposium, suggestions for next time, and just overall thoughts. And then in about 2 weeks, all of the recorded presentations will be up on the NNP, and you should be getting an email about that as well. Otherwise, just keep an eye on the homepage of the symposium website, and we'll have an announcement up there when they're available as well. So that will close us out for this year. Thank you, everyone.